I'm Anil Kumar sharing with you a question from my subscriber, Robert. Robert, thanks a lot for your questions. Here is the very first one, and I hope I can do justice with your question. The question here is determine the vertex of y equals to 6x square plus 9x minus 42 using two different methods. Well, the most popular method to find the vertex is completing the squares, but that is my last choice. I will teach you four different methods in this particular video to find the vertex, and I'm sure you like my first two methods. They are brilliant. The first method is we'll talk about finding axes of symmetry, so that will be my first method. The second one is using partial factoring. So let me write down that. We'll discuss partial factoring. And then the popular methods, right? So when you say two different methods, normally we are looking into these two methods. One is to factor and then is completing squares. Whenever we talk about vertex, first thing which comes to our mind is completing squares method. That is most of the time my last choice, since it involves too many calculations, right? I don't really want to impress you with my calculations. I want to make things simple, right? That's the whole idea. Now let's look into the first method, how to find the axis directly when you are given equation in standard form as it is given in our case, right? Now always vertex has to be on the axis. Now for better understanding, I have sketched the parabola here for you, and we'll discuss this also along with our solution. If equation is given in standard form, in that case axis of symmetry, x value is equals to minus b by 2a. Simple as that, right? Now in our case, b is 9 and a is 6. So the axis of symmetry should be at minus 9 divided by 2 times 6, right? Which we can simplify and write as minus 3 over 4. So axis is the line which gives you symmetry of the parabola. That happens to be at 3 over 4, kind of somewhere here, right? So you can see the parabola which I have drawn has the axis at x equals to minus 3 over 4. Once you find the x value, then the y value you can find by substituting it in your equation. So now y is equals to, we'll substitute minus 3 over 4 or minus 0.75 in our equation, right? So that gives us 6 times minus 0.75 square plus 9 times minus 0.75 minus 42. So at this stage we should use calculator, right? So it is 6 times within bracket minus 0.75 bracket close square plus 9 times within bracket minus 0.75 minus 42 equals to. So that gives you a value which is minus 363 over 8. Okay, so that is the value. If you convert to decimals, it is, let me write this value here, minus 45.375. So we get our vertex, right, in 2 steps. This is probably the best method to be applied whenever standard form equation is given to you for any parabola, right? Now I'll teach you the second method, which is partial factoring. So that is my favorite. In partial factoring, what do? We find if I substitute x equals to 0, that the y-intercept is at minus 42. So there it goes. That is the y-intercept. Now, if I draw a horizontal line here, it is going to intersect somewhere else also on the parabola. And midway we have axis of symmetry, right? So we need to find these 2 points, which will give us value of y as minus 42. How do we find these points? Very easy. Partial factoring. Let me show you how. We have y equals to 6x squared plus 9x minus 42, right? 42. So now I can factor these 2 terms, just these 2. Common things between them is 3 and x. So we are left with 2x, and here 9 divided by 3 will give us 3 minus 42. As you can see from this equation, if I write x as equals to 0, what do I get y as? This is 0. 0 times anything is 0. Y will be equals to minus 42. And if I write x equals to minus 3 over 2, then this factor is going to be 0. And again, I get y value of minus 42. So I get these 2 points. X value here is minus 3 over 2, right? So this value here is 1.5 minus, I can write, okay, and that is 0. These 2 values. Midway between them is my axis of symmetry. So again, I find axis of symmetry. And this time I say axis of symmetry is midway between these 2 x values, which is 0 plus, within bracket, minus 3 over 2 divided by 2. And that gives me same value, minus 3 over 4. And of course, when I substitute this value, in decimal it is 0.75. In my equation, I'll get the same y value. Perfect. So we got the vertex using the second method. Well, the third method is a very popular method which you of course know, and that is factoring. How to factor this equation? Okay. So in this equation, we have y equals to 6x squared plus 9x minus 42. First, let's group factor. 3 is common. So we'll take 3 outside. So we're left with 2x squared plus 3x minus, dividing this by 3. 3 times 1 is 3, and then 12 gives me 14. Okay. Now we have standard equation where coefficient of x is not 1, is greater than 1. So we are looking for product of 28 and sum of 3. Product is minus 28 and sum is 3. So the two numbers could be 7 and 4, right? So we can factor this. So now we can write this as, okay, let me write here 3 times within brackets. So I'll split this 3x into 2 terms, which is combination of 7 and 4. 7 plus and 4 minus. You get 3, right? 4 minus. Minus 14, correct? Now we can factor in the first 2 terms x is common. So we can write this as 3 times x, and within bracket we get 2x plus 7, and here we can take 2 common. So we get minus 2 and then again 2x plus 7. Now 2x plus 7 is common, therefore I can write this equation as 3 times 2x plus 7 times x minus 2. So I get my x-intercepts. So here is your one of the x-intercept at x equals to 2. The other one here should be at minus 7 by 2. Correct? Midway between them we have our x's. So let us add them and divide by 2. Okay, so we get x equals to minus 7 over 2 plus 2 divide by 2, right? That gives us minus 7 plus 4 over 4. That is again minus 3 over 4. Perfectly fine. So you get the same answer. That was the method number 3. You will appreciate why I'm just putting all these things so close together. Always I try to give my solutions in half the page. Now, since I wanted to give you different methods, I have given you 3 already, and we have to have some space for the fourth one, which happens to be the most popular method, completing the squares. I need a lot of space for that. So what I will do here is mark some area for completing the squares. So that is my fourth method. So let us complete square and get our answer. We have equation y equals to 6x square plus 9x minus 42. So let us take 6 outside the brackets and we get 9 over 6, x minus 42. Now we have to add and subtract half of this. Well, let me first write 9 over 6 as 3 over 2. It'll be slightly easier for us. Now half of 3 over 2 is 3 over 4. So we'll add and subtract square of 3 over 4. That is what this method is, right? Extremely good method but lengthy. Minus 42, correct? So that gives us one factor which is a perfect square. And this factor is x plus we take from here 3 over 4 from there, right? Whole square. And we can now open this bracket. 3 square is 9 and 4 square is 16 minus 42, correct? Let me now solve further on this side. So what we have here is 6 times, let's open the bracket, x plus 3 over 4 whole square minus, we'll multiply this by 6, right? So what do we get? 6 times 9, let me write 6 times 9 over 16 minus 42. Correct. So this is equal to 6 times x plus 3 over 4 whole square. If you simplify this, you can divide this by 2 each, right? So 3 times 9 is 27 over 8 minus 42, right? So that gives you 6 times x plus 3 over 4 x square. I hope you can see them, right? 27 over 8. And to get 8 as the denominator, I have to multiply 42 by 8. So 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 4 is 32. So we get 336 minus, right? This is minus in between. Okay. And finally, let me push the page a bit forward. We get our answer. 6 times x plus, I hope you can see it, right? And when you add these two, you get 363. Okay, 363 over 8. Same thing, right? So what we get here is our vertex, which is at minus 3 over 4. So vertex, let me write here, is at minus 3 over 4 and the y value is minus 363 over 8. So that is your solution, right? Robert, I hope you have understood the methods and you can adopt any 2 methods you like. Thank you and all the best.